All right, you're right, Julie.
Okay, hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Sacred Dew discussion, our panel discussions, which I love and I haven't done for a little while. So excuse me if I'm not up to scratch as I usually am. And before we move on, we've got some beautiful ladies here that are going to be in conversation with me. And we're going to talk about today women empowering women. And this is a topic I'm very passionate about, and I work it in my business. It's part of what I do in my own work. And we will have some questions that we'll go through, and each person will have an opportunity to share their thoughts and feelings and ideas around this and how we can support women empowering each other. And our aim is to ignite your passions and get you feeling all juiced up to be a part of this as well. And know that you can put questions into the comment section, and also with each panelist, their contact information will be in the comment sections as well. And this will be up for you to come back to and listen to. So, first of all, as a collective effort, we want to work to help support women, uplift them, promote their rights, which I am very, very passionate about. What opportunities they have, well-being for themselves and other women, because in today's world, there's so many people all over struggling, and we're going to stay with women in this focus. And I know in Australia, and I do believe it's global, that a lot of women are really struggling. We have issues with homelessness. The cost of living is incredibly expensive, and I know that it's global. And we need to, and I do say need, is to come together as a collective, stand up for our rights and build that tribe, build that community of women. And I myself am actually doing that as a volunteer with our local community lands trust. And currently we are focused on supporting women to prevent homelessness, because we have a lot of women 55 and over homeless, and also mothers, single mums with children. So there's a whole lot of areas that we can tap into. Stay with what you know. And to start off with now, what I'm going to do is allow everybody just to give a quick introduction about themselves, who they are, where they are, and really quickly what you do, because we want to spend this conversation on the juicy topic. Okie dokie. So, Beverly, let's have you. Hey.
Hi, Beverly Akhurst. I'm here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. That's when my red and white. It's Canada Day today. I'm here, not out there. I teach a thing I call Rhythm of Your Life. I'm midwifing people back into the next second and third trimesters of their way of being within this lifetime. And that's a whole holistic health based on all limbs of yoga and everything that will take us back into rhythm of being. And I'm sure we'll cover more of it later, but that's the basics of what I do. So thank you, Julie. Wonderful to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and welcome back. Kim.
My name is Kim Harms. I've just been around the block in life and professionally. I was the first woman president of the Minnesota Dental Association. In fact, the first woman president of the whole upper Midwest in the US. So I've certainly had to be a pioneer for women in that area. I also was a national spokesperson for the American Dental Association for crisis situations. I've also lost my mother and son to suicide and my husband to a broken heart. And now I work helping women, widows in particular, and other women in the fourth quarter of their lives kind of prepare themselves for that fourth quarter to prepare their children for success after they die.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ah, yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about what you do as well. Oh, I was just going to bring Anick in, but she's gone off video. So Olga.
Hi, I'm a holistic counselor and psychotherapist. I help dedicated professionals to overcome and address anxiety, which sometimes can or cannot be linked to trauma. And I have background in adult social services, health and safety, representatives, and yes, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher as well.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much and welcome. Anick, beautiful Anick.
Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. It's been a little while. And hi, Beverly. And nice to meet you, ladies. I'm Anick Patry. I'm French-Canadian. I'm based in Australia, in Sydney, Coogee Beach in Sydney, Australia. And I help empath women in leadership and business to heart-centered, to actually embody their highest lucrative joy and to own their creative power so that they can have more fun creating and make more money and being more themselves, which is super important. And I love what I do. I've written a book called Visionary, and I've done a TEDx talk. And I love, 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 love empowering women. I think we all need, and it's so important to to be in our power, in our juju, creating magic.
Beautiful. Love it. I believe we're all on the same page here. And just a very brief introduction of me. I've long been in the natural therapies world. I'm a clinical aromatherapist. I'm an astrologer. I am a practicing witch and I'm an artist, and I've been doing these things for many, many years, 3 decades minimum. And my thing is to lead women into rising unapologetically in their truth, in their divine essence of being, and bringing all of my tools in to help them with that. So we are all on the same page. And this is the beautiful thing about what we do, is we're all doing different things, and it can all be brought together to create this incredible toolbox for women to work with. And of course, men can tap into it if they wish to. So let's get, and just remember, everybody's contact details will be available in the comment section, and you can ask questions for those watching the live. But let's get stuck into this, because this is a huge topic for me. And so let's get stuck into it. So the first question is, I struggle with the word institutional. I'm going to just simplify the answer. And what changes do we need to have made for women to be empowered? And this alone, this question could go on for a long time. So let's keep our answers succinct so we can get through them all. We've got 45 minutes. Okay, so Olga, would you like to start first, or am I putting you in the being your first panel?
Well, it's there are many things that can be done, isn't it? So maybe I'll just focus on the things that I come across in my practice and maybe from my work life.
Yes.
So if we are talking about institutional settings, it can mean so many different things again. I mean, family can be seen as institutional, isn't it? And workplace in itself. So as women are working, so I think it's important that we look at what is specific to women. So it could be, for example, women can go through periods, menopause, obviously being pregnant. So those are the things that can be made easier for people, maybe with flexible working. So that would make it easier. Yes, and I think in general, for women to learn more about the achievements other women had in their lives and brought to the world, that would be a knowledge. And maybe I like learning about role models. So that's important. And of course, in my practice, it's important anything to do with self-worth, self-respect, self-value. Again, because I work with trauma, so sometimes people need time to overcome that, and that comes into place where people need to be supported through that time. So I think those are the main things that I wanted to mention for now.
Thank you. Thank you, Olga. Kim.
Yeah, so I think one of the first things we need to do is to really empower women to have that feeling that they can do things. And then when they come to barriers, and I'm 67 years old, and working in the dental profession back in the 70s, it was 90% men or even more. We need to be flexible when barriers come, and they will. We need to be able to work around the barriers. We need to be resilient so that one failure is not going to define us. We just kind of find another way around. And one other thing I think that's important, we need to learn to be unoffendable. What I mean by that is sometimes as we're working through a problem, we're working in an area, and for whatever reason, whether it's sexism or they just don't like us, somebody tries to put a barrier in front of us. If we allow ourselves to focus just on the issue at hand, how do I get this issue done, and try to put off the offense, become unoffendable, not allow us to get too bogged down in taking things personally, I think we can go a lot further. And I think that's one thing we need to start to teach people. Just, take care of things, let the offense go. When I was working as a spokesperson, that's what they always taught us, as if reporters trying to come at us and make a negative story, just let the offenses bounce off, deal with the issue. And I think we need to do that and learn to do that and make that a priority.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Kim. I often talk about being unapologetic in what we do. And I mean, I always strive to do good, but there are some times when we have to stand in our power, and it may not be shown as being necessarily kind and compassionate, but I think that there is a place for us to speak our truth in a diplomatic way. And for me, education is key for everything. Yes, self-love, and with self-love, we gain self-worth, self-confidence, then we become magnetic, and then we can manifest. But first we have to acknowledge where we are with how we feel about ourselves, because there's always that inner healing to do. And if we don't do that, it's very hard to move forward from that. So yes, unoffendable, or I say unapologetic, and not care about what other people have to say about you, because it's often a projection and it doesn't matter. There's, that old saying, what other people have to say about me is not my business. Don't take it on. Yeah, unless it's really good advice and you can work through it. Beverly.
Yes. So changes that can be made for women to be empowered. they're almost endless. We're living in a very masculine framed world. So for me, part of what I focus on with the women that I work with are learning to be okay with letting go of working in a masculine energy world. And when I say masculine, I don't mean men, but the masculine 9 to 5. That's a sun cycle. That's not a moon cycle. That works with testosterone. It doesn't work with estrogen, progesterone. And we are so incredibly attuned to it that if we were to fall into a cycle of a 4-week period, we would start to come in tune with our creative force, our ability to be inwards, to be outwards. But instead, women are always trying to fit into that get up, work 9 to 5, even when you're super tired, when you have a period, when you're feeling off. And even after menopause, we're still in that cycle. And I think what women would find is a creative source of energy that would blow everybody out of the water. On top of that, learning, put it this way, when I was younger, we were all about in that age group where we remember how things used to be. If I wanted a backpack for hiking, they were all built for men. So I'd be hiking and I'd have a backpack with straps sitting out here and I'd have to cinch it right in so it wouldn't hurt my back. And now they're built for women's bodies. And I think the world is very much like that. Everything was built for that masculine way of being. And it's time to actually change the build of all of that and be okay with it. And I love what you and Kim were just mentioning about that not being offensive. We're told to be kind to everybody else, but we're not being told to think of ourselves first and be kind to ourselves first. If we're always, the guidepost is always going to change. So if we're continually changing to not offend everybody under the guidepost that is the present day, women will never have a voice that comes from their heart. Their voice will always be diminished. And I think that's one of the big changes. Yes, you can be nice about what you're saying, but your voice counts and matters first. The goddess Vak was the first sound of the universe that created everything of beauty that we see today. Vak. And that is the root word of vocal and voice. It is the feminine. And our voices have been diminished, and we need to be able to sing, to shout, to be angry, to laugh as loud as we want, to say the things that matter to us without fear that we're going to be offensive to somebody else before ourselves. And I think some of this is the change that is desperately needed right now, because the guidepost is always moving and we're always just playing catch up right now.
Yeah. And we do live in a very masculine, patriarchal world. And every time women step up and fight for their rights, something happens where they try to squash them. And it's not always men that do that. It's just that very strong masculine patriarchal way. My desire is to see that crushed so that it can be rebuilt with more balance. Because we need both. We need the patriarchal and the matriarchal, but we need balance.
Yeah, and can I just add before you move on to Anick, because I know she's going to have something wonderful to share. I actually think that's part of the change that's needed to help men remember what the masculine was meant to be and help them find their place in everything so that they can be empowered to be who they need to be and allow us to be who we need to be.
That's coming up in our next question. So let's hold back on that one, but you're right. Anick.
All right. Yeah, that's so interesting to listen to the view of everyone. I would say that it's not like institutions, societal changes. We are badasses. We have been gifted with a soul who chose to awaken. We have hope in our hearts. I'm saying we, us here on this panel, and the audience who is watching. So we are the example. We are the ones showing the way, leading the way, cutting the trees in the forest. So then there's a path for others to walk into that path. And by being the example, by being inspiring, by learning the basics, and teaching the basics, which is self-care, self-leadership, self-love, self-expression. Like these, the pillars of my business, like there's 5 main pillars. And by us embodying that and being an example, and the only way to be an example is by actually living it, breathing it, doing it, being it. That's how that's how we're going to have a bigger impact, and it has a ripple effect on the people around us, on our clients. If you do, if you have a large audience, I mean, if you work in an organization, or if you're visible online, you have a community online, we are the one who are going to influence and have an impact on creating changes in institutions and society.
Yes.
But we've been the chosen one, you know what I mean? And so that I think that's how I see it. And not taking all of that on our shoulders, like as a pressure, but by us following our passion, following our heart, and being ourselves. And it takes courage. It's not easy, I'm still peeling onion every day, like, the little one shows up, and the past traumas and the this and the that, and I still get triggered every now and again. But I have tools, and I choose love, and I choose. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that I have that my energy matters, and who I am matters, and I influence. I'm a leader. I'm in the leader seat, and that's what I chose in this lifetime. So that's how I see we can change slowly, bits by bits, institution by being feminine. Like, I love feminine leadership in the sense of allowing, using our intuition, being in our bodies, really the feminine way more and more. And that's very present in what who I am and what I share, and as opposed to following the masculine patriarchal patterns, which is, God bless them. I mean, everyone do the best they can with what they have, because there is a masculine within ourselves. Now I can feel I'm on a roll. I'm channeling. I'm like, ooh.
So, which is fabulous. Yes. And I think our next question is going to be really important. And just to bring everything together, for me, it's about, first, the change has to come within ourselves, from within ourselves. And then, as Anick has said, when we grow into that, we are doing it, we create a ripple effect by building that community of women, teaching them or leading them into that self-love, self-growth, self-confidence, and loving themselves and trusting themselves and being in their truth, which is so, so important. And we have to get there to that space before we can start making changes. It's like educational. We have to take each of the steps. If we miss any, then we could go way, way back and have to start again. So acknowledgement is really powerful when we acknowledge where we are. And again, the key answer to this for me is education, and it starts from as soon as you have a child, perhaps, or if you don't have children, in the schools, like, what are ways men can be great allies with us, for us, and what do we need to engage and inspire with to bring the men into being advocates. And for me, again, I'll just share this. I think that males and females, we're all built very differently. So it's about understanding each other and how each other works. And then educating, because our whole school systems, everything, are very masculine based. And so education is key, and having great conversations with men and really, yeah. How do we feel? Getting them to understand, because it's so ingrained in them, and we still have some very old ways of how men are being brought up so differently to women and families. So, Kim, what would you like to say on that?
A lot on that one. Well, I think the most powerful position as women we're in, of course, is as mothers. And I say that because my husband, I got married in 1974, and he was a wonderful husband, great husband, but he was from a generation that was kind of raised at, women, I think we'll let you be empowered. We'll let you go out and get those jobs. But when it comes to the stuff at home, I'm not doing anything more. I mean, I'm not going to do any of that. But you go ahead and have the job, and then I'm sure you can take care of the other things. He was malleable. I did train him over 44 years. He got better. But my son-in-laws, I've had the wonderful privilege of having two son-in-laws that were trained by amazing mothers to accept the responsibilities, some home responsibilities, to accept a partnership in the marriage situation. I'm talking about men and women in marriage, and of course in business it's different. But they are in business. They're very respectful of women too. But my both of my daughters have husbands that are very helpful around the house. They see their marriage as a partnership. And about 6 months ago, one of my son-in-laws, my daughter and son-in-law, got together and decided that she made more money than he did, so he's staying home now with the kids and taking over the home responsibilities. I was just there a few hours ago for a birthday party. So I think that the best thing we can do, the most impactful thing we can do, is as mothers train our sons to be self-sufficient, train them how to wash their laundry, clean up after themselves, do all those household chores, and train them to be respectful to women. And then, of course, that follows through the educational system. But as our mothers have the most power in that particular part.
Can I just share something too that I was a bit mortified with when I discovered that some schools here are now teaching hygiene, especially with young boys, and how to shave and how to not smell in school. And I was a little bit shocked, because I personally believe that should come from the home. And I felt that it was a little bit sad that that was happening, where teenage boys had to be taught how to shave and do things like that in school. Because I know that a lot of parents are very busy, and I don't know, I have a lot to say about that. So I'm curious as well, because education, and I don't use the word training so much, but educating them and teaching them what they need to do, even from the most basic things. Yeah. Olga.
I'll just follow on a little bit from what Kim said, but from slightly different angle, because Kim focused on mothers, whereas I'll probably mention fathers. I think it's quite important in terms of bringing up boys and girls. But it's fathers and brothers and grandfathers, they're the ones that can become allies from the time that girls are brought up, so they learn how to know their strength, their value, that they can use their voice to speak up and say what they like and what they don't. It's interesting because I worked with clients who sometimes don't know what they like and what they don't for various reasons, which is interesting. Yes, so it starts from the family, where the fathers mainly encourage the girls to be educated. So the grown-ups, they provide advocacy from that point, where they provide resources, education, and opportunities for girls to be confident and happy with themselves. And of course, at some the voice or ability to speak up obviously grows stronger and stronger, but it starts from the family, it starts from the childhood. That's mainly that one.
Yeah. And another thing is for boys and men to understand, be educated on the different phases that women go through. because that is like a very misunderstood, and some of the things that used to be said back in, I'm in my mid to 60s as well, Kim, and some of the things that used to be said to us as young women when we were on our bleed was absolutely shameful. And so educating on the phases of women, I think, for men are to understand women better. Anick?
Okay, what are ways men can be good allies? I mean, I really love what's been shared because yeah, it's the parents, like the mothers, the fathers, but I mean, if they haven't been educated themselves, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like it's a it's a cycle. So, you know, I mean, I'm not surprised that in school, I think that's great that in school it has to, I think it's wonderful that some schools have this openness to educate on hygiene. I think that's wonderful. Anywhere, any kind of avenues. But, and it's not just hygiene, it's like how to treat themselves, like how to self-care and self-love and self-respect themselves as men. So therefore they'll be able to honor and treat women as a goddess, worship them and honor them and respect them. But it starts like all of us, like whether we're a man or a woman, it really starts within. But if some of us never had any form of education, which is, I mean, these days with the online world, we are so blessed. There's so much information out there. You know what I mean? There's so much information. I'm sure there's videos that teaches you how to save yourself and how to. I suppose you have to be sometimes linked to that. Depends the level of consciousness and how. Yeah, but us women in our hearts, awaken, conscious, spiritual, aware, self-aware. Again, like for us to really share and be honest and yeah, every time, like I've got a lot of male friends and we have really open conversations, which is really beautiful. And I'm learning from them and they're learning from me, and yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah. That will do. To add another aspect about there being so many videos out there for young ones to educate themselves, because yes, there is, and it's fantastic, and the internet is brilliant, but we've also got to be really mindful that there's a lot of really negative stuff. So young boys have easy access to porn, and this has become a real issue where, and even on TV, where they see love scenes and that, and there's a lot of education outside of schools around this that is starting to come up, because talking to young women in high school and that, they're doing things because that's what the boys want them to do, and where it's come from, because a lot of them have been interviewed, and I can't think of her name at the moment, but there's a young woman in her 20s that has actually written a book about this, and it's really powerful because and it is mostly boys. The girls are not really so much interested in seeing the porn videos, but they lack that understanding and compassion. And even in the schools, behind the schools, they're encouraging girls to do things that they actually don't want to do, but the girls are saying, oh, well, I think it's all right because they saw it. And I don't want to be explicit here, but it actually has become a big problem. So we as parents also need to be very mindful of what our children are watching and what they're learning from all of that. There's great education online and there's very toxic education online. And I think that it's very important to be aware of that, because there is a lot of abuse now with young women and gang rapes, and it's actually risen because they have access to a lot of these sort of things. So again, educating the boys, and I've always said that sex should be a part of school education, and girls being able to say no and stick to it without being bullied and being in their truth. So it comes down to that whole respect thing and not being afraid to say no. There's massive problems in our schools, especially high schools, with all of this. So I just wanted to add that because I think it's something that's very important. And even I myself, until last year, didn't realize how severe it was and how much on the rise it is. And I'll just bring in something else, is that 97.9% of men get off sexual abuse cases in Australia. I can't speak for other countries. So this is a very, very, it's a completely, well, it's a part of this with women being empowered. So something that needs to be spoken about more openly, and, you know, it's not okay. It's not okay. Beverly.
Oh, I'm going to veer off a bit because I'm not a parent. I wasn't in the books for me. So I'm going to go to the things that I do know. I will say I feel as if I do midwife and mother many beings in my world that I might have known for many lifetimes before. But I'm going to focus, because you're right, young men, young women are really needing something, but they also need elders who understand themselves. And right now, they don't have elders surrounding them who have been taught how to care for themselves. So, you know, I jumped up while somebody was talking, went to get all my devas that are sitting there. And on that shelf, there are also the masculine, because there's nothing in the Hindu pantheon that does not have the masculine and feminine. Mm. So many cultures around, it's like there is a masculine framework of following. And in the Hindu pantheon, in Bharat, it's always Saraswati and Brahman. It's Vishnu and Lakshmi. It's Shiva and Shakti, Shiva, Durga, Shiva, Kali. It's always the pair, because you cannot have one without the other. And there's nothing that functions around us. You can't, for the most part, you need a male tree and a female tree for fruit to be produced. You need the sun, you need the moon, you need day, you need night. We always need that balance, and we always seem to be fighting against it. And when we feel, and I see this so much as women, that we don't have a place, we're lost, there's this fight back, and we're hearing it all around us. We're men, we don't need men. They're useless. They're whatever. I can do without men. I only want women in my life. And I think if you say that enough times, a man hearing that all the time starts going, well, what is the point? Now, what is this? And there is an anger, an irrelevance that starts to build. And I don't know about you all, but I know if I was to have that thrown at me all the time, which women have had over the decades, over the centuries, you know, and on a very personal level, if that was the thing. And I had that as a child. My grandfather's like, girls are pointless, useless. And you start to wear it. We wear habits. Like, we think we have habits. We wear habits. Nuns wear a habit to delineate themselves as something. And we are given these things that we start to wear as habits. Well, I'm pointless, or I need to shut up and be quiet. So I think a very important framework is to invite men in to explore who they are. The people who are already fathers, or who have been fathers and their sons are grown, for them to take on a mantle of this eldership of saying, what have I learned? What have I seen? What has worked? What has not worked? For women to say the same, for women to sit down with men and say, this is what I've experienced. I've never said it, but here it is. Here's what I have felt like because of all these things. So I am so sorry if I've said you're pointless. It's because I have felt pointless. There's so many reasons, but in this whole pantheon, so this one's Durga. Durga has 9 arms. she's slaying the demon, and she's slaying the demon because she rode up on a lion. She's so fierce. She rode up on a lion, exposing her ankle, and the demons were just so stunned with her beauty, they didn't notice how fierce she was, and she slayed them because her beauty distracted. So we're allowed to be beautiful. We're allowed to be fierce. We're allowed to be productive. And the masculine was meant to circle the fire, to protect us from the lions, so we could do all these amazing things that we're capable of doing. And we need to invite men in to be able to be fierce, be powerful, be protectors without us giving up, like not sinking back and going, I can't do any of it myself, but to say, hey, yeah, you take care of that so I can be everything I was put here to be. In Bharat, in India, there's this amazing thing you do, and I'd love to see it come into all schools. Young women, and even after school, young women, and it started with their brothers, but it's any man they want to be a brother with, that they don't want the man looking at them as a possible girlfriend. They tie Rakhi. It's this string they tie around. And what it says is, I have so much faith in you to be a protector, to be this amazing being. I will shout to the world all the things that you are fantastic at, to the women that you are interested in. I will tell them how incredible you are, but you protect me. And in return, they do the same. They stand up for this woman, this young woman. They tell the world how amazing she is, and they stand for her and hold space for her and never try to step beyond that boundary, because they have made an agreement that they are like brother and sister and that they are there to care for each other. And wouldn't that be incredible to get young people to do that and to acknowledge it and to think about it?
Absolutely, Beverly. I love that. And there are other cultures that do that. Even in ancient Egypt, women were considered equal with men. They walked beside each other. There was no, walking behind or the masculine being the leader all the time. It's beautiful. And we've only got just under 10 minutes, so I'm going to bring the last two questions together. But I just want to say one thing to what you said, because I think we all agree with what you said. That's the ideal. That's what we all want. But at the center of it, people have to want to. Men have to want to be in part of that change, and that is growing. And I know that a lot of men have felt very lost. But I don't, and this is my personal, what I've witnessed is I don't see enough men wanting that stepping up and saying, I want the change, or not being afraid of feeling weak because they want to open themselves up. So it's a massive topic, isn't it? There's so many layers and pathways that we could go down with this. But I really love what you shared there about the equality. So with the last two questions, because we've literally got about 8 to 10 minutes, right? So let's keep it at no more than a couple of minutes each. And we'll bring them together. How do you empower yourself and the women around you? And we Anick sort of touched on this in a way earlier on. And then what makes you a strong woman? What fulfills you? So we can bring these together. And let's keep it at less than 2 minutes each, actually, because Sophia will be coming back very shortly. So, Anick.
Okay, I know you would pick me. Our intuition. Let's using our intuition, how to empower yourself using our hearts. To me, when your heart is open, because it was a journey for me, I didn't have access to it because I was too much in the nervous system trauma for quite some time, so it was difficult to have access. But with my transformational experience, embodiment, intuition and heart, all the answers are there. So I guess having a practice, a daily practice of tuning into consciousness, heart, soul, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through a walk in nature, whether it's through a bubble bath, whether it's through, like brain waves, music on your head, whether it's through dancing in your living room, like a daily practice. I tune into my heart 3 times a day. And I'm asking myself that, I mean, I'm practicing all of that, but it's really in the self-care. Like self-care is like number one, and it's not just bubble bath and chocolate in bed, or what I mean. It's not like, even though I go and get a 2 hours massage a week for the last 6 years. That's been a non-negotiable. But it's really self-care is really tuning into the wisdom that lives inside your heart, inside your soul. So having a regular practice that works for you, not something that you're not aligned with. For some women it'll be dancing. For some women it'll be, floating in a float tank or in the ocean. For some women it'll be, like a yoga practice every day, whatever works for you, but really asking the question within yourself, like, what does my heart truly desire? What does my heart wants to express today? And asking the question and doing your practice and sharing that with others, sharing that in the way that feels aligned for you to share and influence other women, which is what I do with my clients, which is what I do on the social media, which is what, I do for myself, and following that. And it becomes an embodied practice, and it has ripple effect. And again, I'd say it again, I started that way. You are an example. You're the one inspiring. So by you living it, you automatically empower other women. By you, being authentic, being real, you empower other women.
Thank you. Thank you, Anick. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt everybody. I just want everybody to have a chance to speak. Olga.
Well, I empower myself through education. I seem to like to study, and since sport has been a big part in my life, so I do like to exercise, whether it is yoga, swimming, or some special exercises that I do for myself. And of course, being connected to my culture, my family, because those ones, they come together, I don't separate them. And nature, that's important to me. In regards to my work, yes, I empower women by having them as my clients and working through difficulties that they might be having, because most of the clients are usually women in therapy for various reasons. Yes, so we work through whatever might be coming across. So I do focus on mind-body interconnection, how both influence each other and how can be in harmony. And in the past, of course, because I worked in women's environment, it was about empowering women to know about their rights in the workplace. So, and doing something about it, really. So whether it is health and safety, or whether it is generically about them being educated and promoting themselves. So, but mainly the focus would have been about staying safe at work, whether it is lone working or, making their work environment safe on an everyday basis. And of course, yeah.
Thank you, Olga.
Yeah,
and I love that, because women knowing their rights in the workplace is something else that is needs a lot of work around. It's very important. Beverly, you've got a minute.
I got a minute.
You've got a minute.
Okay.
That's it.
I will try.
I'll
Okay, all
wind
of you
you
have to
up.
shorten your time. Empower myself. I do it through constantly digging into the rhythms that are mine, figuring out who it is, how I need to exist. That's my entire life's exploration, looking at the places where I've held myself back and helping myself push to those edges. And I do that with the women I work with. I encourage them to find their rhythms, and not mine, theirs. They have their own unique individual rhythm within life, how they eat, how they sleep, how they move. And I think anybody who's feeling stronger, feeling healthier, feeling more themselves is much more capable of figuring out who they are, of connecting to the things that matter most to them. And we're all very disconnected in this drugged up world that we live in. So concrete steps they can take are to start with the easiest thing. Start with the easiest thing. It's not about going for the biggest thing or doing what everyone else is doing. It's like, do one small thing, whether it's move, whether it's eat something different, whether it's add something in, whether it's get rid of a friendship that's been sucking you dry. And how I empower women is to always show up and tell them how beautiful they are. I don't care if you're a stranger in a lineup. If you look gorgeous, if you have done something spectacular, I want to build you up. I'm tired of this world where women are tearing each other down so that they can have something of the pie.
That is beautiful. And I'm the same. I can't help myself. It comes out naturally. Oh, I love your eyes, or I love your outfit. That's beautiful. And that's important. Thank you. That's a really, really good point, Beverly. Kim, you've got a minute. Sorry. You need to unmute, lovely.
Sorry, I was dinging. I'm old and I'm a survivor. And that's what I'm an old resilient survivor. And I've, survived the suicide loss of my mother and my son, and the loss of my husband, and other major losses along the way. And what I learned is that you have to fight your way out of that grief pit. I've been down in the depths, barely breathe. You have to fight your way. It doesn't come naturally. It's not going to just happen. You have to fight your way out of the grief pit. And I think putting your mental health first is extremely important. I suffer from depression and I'm treated for it, and I will be treated for it for the rest of my life. And I'm so glad the treatments are out there. So be resilient and fight. Those are my recommendations.
I love it. And I'm going to say I'm 66 this year and I am not old. But I
got you by a couple of years, so
I have been through some very big challenges in my life, and the notes that I put were life experiences. That's how we become empowered. And for me, they don't stop. And if I go into my astrology chart, like, I know exactly why. And what I've learned to do is be able to look beyond that. So I allow myself to feel all the feelings, because that which you resist will persist. So the more I feel into it and flow with it, the sooner I can come out of it. And that in itself is very empowering. And as Anick said, I have my own rituals that I do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And those rituals and the challenges that I've had in life are what have given me my strength. I am a very strong woman. I'm very unapologetic. And it's through going through all of the challenges that has brought me to that place. And we can lead by example, all of us, which is what we do. And that's how we can create that beautiful ripple effect with women empowering themselves. We can't empower them. We can guide them and give them the tools, but they have to empower themselves. And that was fabulous. Thank you very much for all of your sharing and your beautiful energy. And remember, to all that are listening, whether it's the replay or the live, all the links will be in the comments section below for you to connect in with any of these gorgeous, empowered, very brave and courageous women, which is, it just gives me goosebumps. And Sophia will be popping in, I thought now, there she is, to share a little bit about Sacred You. We can't hear you, Sophia. I don't know why.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
There you are.
Problems? We're all good? We're all good. How about hear this one? How about that one? You should be able
Yeah.
to hear that. Change microphones. It's all good. Just want to thank you, Julie. Just want to honor you for a fantastic panel discussion, and for everyone here who's joined us, for Kim and Beverly and Olga and our beautiful Anick. It's great to see you again, Anick. And also, before I tell everyone what's coming up, just wanted to give a big shout out to Joe, who is watching us. We have had quite a few people watching us, and Joe did leave a comment. Apologies, Joe, I've only just seen your comment. And Joe's saying, well, she's saying, beautiful conversation, thank you. Empowering you to live your best life. Joe is, of course, the host of Empowering You to Live Your Best Life. And there was another comment. It's so culturally and socially ingrained, deeply programmed that they are weak to show emotions or empathy. So thank you, Joan. I said apologies that your comments are only just coming through. Now I've lost everyone. There you go. Now we're back. So I said, what a wonderful panel discussion. Of course, for everyone who is watching the live or the replay, do click on the links below, because not only will you be able to connect with all these amazing women, you'll also see what's coming up, because they're all coming back for our upcoming panels. Tomorrow, actually, we've got, we won't say it too loud, but okay, we'll say WTF, or we won't say it too loud on Facebook. What the fuck is human design, and how it can help us with our blueprint. That's coming up tomorrow, and we've got so many more. Click on the links below. But the most exciting news is coming up in a few months in September. We have Harmony Fest, don't we, Julie? Harmony Fest, 3 days. 3 days, including a panel discussion, 3 days of online virtual stalls, masterclasses, online readers, all sorts of things. Again, click on the link, visit our website, sacredyou.love. Come and join us for that. You'll be hearing so much more about it as we go on. And while you're there, come and join us. Come and join Sacred You, because, Julie, I didn't actually hear you say anything about your beautiful tribe.
Yeah, I forgot, because I was so like trying to not take over and talk too much, but
It's fine.
I will share on Fridays at Sydney time, 12:30 to 1:30. I run a tribe called Bewitching, and we cover all things magic, ritual, astrology, aromatherapy, and I'm also the creator of a fragrant oracle, so I do readings, and it's a lot about tapping into the mystical and magical.
Yes, absolutely. And it is very mystical and magical. And that is only just one of our tribes. We've got about 20 other tribes, including Joe, who is watching us, who runs the Empowering You to Live Your Best Life, and Human Design, which is coming up tomorrow. So come and join us just for $1. You can try us out for 2 weeks. You can try any of the tribes out. You can come and join Julie's tribe for two weeks. You can join other tribes for 2 weeks just for that $1 Australian. And then after that, it is from $30 a month, but it depends on how many tribes you want to join. We've got packages for everyone, memberships for everyone. That's it, I think. So click on the links below. Thank you ever so much for joining us, these amazing women. And for everyone who's watching us, come back tomorrow. Same time. Well, actually 1 hour later. Come back tomorrow. Something like that. It's on the links below. Thank you, and have a beautiful day wherever you are.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.